Hello everyone. Today I want to tell you about a new anime that came out in the winter season of 2025. It's a romantic comedy titled I Want to Run Away from Princess Lessons. The first episode was very funny and entertaining, and I think you'll enjoy it. Our main heroine is Letizia Dorman, the daughter of a duke. She lives in a family where her father cares deeply about his reputation and status. When Letizia was 7 years old, she received a letter from the king announcing her engagement to Prince Clark. It should be noted that she had to leave her home and family behind to learn courtly etiquette and appear worthy as a princess. Letizia was a happy and energetic girl who loved walking around her home, playing with her dog named Jana, and enjoying the beautiful garden. However, her life changed dramatically when she learned about her engagement and the need to move to the palace. Her father took this matter very seriously and left her no choice. Letizia set off for the palace with her older brother Nadir. Along the way, she slept the entire journey, perhaps from excitement or fatigue. At the entrance to the palace, she was met by a butler who heard her in the corridors. She noticed that some nobles were talking about her, which likely added to her nervousness. In one of the halls, Letizia met a woman named Layla, who became her mentor. Layla was responsible for teaching Letizia everything she needed to know and do as a future queen. These were lessons in behavior, speech, dancing, eating, and other skills necessary for life at court. Letizia's days were filled with lessons, and she gradually became more fiery and educated. However, despite this, she lost her joy and enthusiasm. She missed her former life, playing with her dog, and the freedom she enjoyed at home. The only familiar face for her in this new challenge was her brother Nadir, who however was very important and insisted that she take her new role seriously. He left her a maid named Lily, who cared for her, brought her food and clothes, and supported her in this unfamiliar environment. As the years passed, Letizia grew up and became a beautiful and noble lady. She turned into the perfect princess that her mentors and parents spoke about. However, inside, she still felt discontent and a desire to return to her former life. One day at a ball, Letizia met Prince Clark with another woman, Brianna. The prince informed Letizia that he could not be her partner for the evening as he was occupied with Brianna. Letizia realized that the prince had fallen in love with someone else, and this became a turning point in her life. She remembered a promise her brother Nadir had made to her. He said that if the prince fell in love with another woman, she would be free from the engagement. Letizia decided to take advantage of this opportunity and break the engagement. She approached her brother Nadir, who had previously promised to fulfill her wish if the prince fell in love with someone else. Nadir agreed, and Letizia happily left the palace, leaving everyone puzzled. After that, she returned home, where she was greeted by Lily. Letizia was happy and told Lily what had happened. She also offered Lily to accompany her in her new life, as she planned to go as far away from the palace as possible. Lily agreed, and together they set off on a new journey full of hope and possibilities. At the castle, Isabella and Catherine are gossiping about how it's a shame that Letizia left, as she seemed to be a good bride for the prince and could have become an excellent queen. At this moment, Sebastian runs in, announcing that Queen Laura wants to hear their account of the ball. Suddenly, they hear Brianna shouting. She is the prince's new fiancée, who can't handle Lady Lila's strict lessons. Now it becomes clear why it was so difficult for Letizia at the castle. Meanwhile, Letizia is having fun at home, rolling around in the grass in the garden. She's free. Lily also seems happier after their engagement to the prince was broken off. During a walk, Letizia catches a fish with a rod, but suddenly Prince Clark appears, almost making her fall. He saves her, but she's more concerned about the caught fish. The prince watches as Letizia prepares fried fish. After tasting it, he burns his tongue because the food is hot. This makes him wonder why he always gets cold food at the castle. Letizia jokes that it's to prevent burns. In the village, Letizia shows off her skills in making fishing hooks, which impresses the local residents. The prince advises her to be careful not to hurt herself, but she dismisses it, calling the activity harmless. The villagers notice that life in the village has become more cheerful since Letizia's return. The prince realizes that if he takes her back, it will take away happiness from these people. It turns out that Leticia's engagement was not actually annulled. When this information becomes known, Brianna refuses to be the prince's fiancé upon learning that he plans to have children only with Leticia. She also doesn't want to endure Lady Lila's lessons. When Leticia's parents learn about this, they arrive at the house to discuss the situation. Her mother is upset while her father remains calm. Realizing that she doesn't want to lose her freedom, Leticia decides to run away again. However, Brianna intercepts her, insisting on returning her to the castle. Leticia offers her to marry her brother Nadir instead, who, despite having a bad temper, is a good match. Brianna agrees, allowing Leticia to escape once more. But Prince Clark catches her just before her escape. Instead of getting angry, he simply asks her about the color of the dress for the next ceremony, leaving Leticia speechless. The queen shows interest in Leticia, although she does not mention her by name. She asks Sebastian to find the woman who caused a commotion at the ball, which could be either a favorable or dangerous sign for Leticia. The situation becomes more complicated when Prince Clark personally comes to Leticia's parents. They are both pleased and bewildered by what is happening, but can do nothing about it. The prince literally carries Leticia out on his shoulders. She tries to appeal to her brother for help, reminding him of his promise, but he ignores her and tells the prince that everything is ready, even the carriage for their return to the palace. During the journey, Leticia seeks support from her new acquaintance, Brianna, with whom she made a deal, but Brianna turns away. The only one who tries to support her is Lily, who wishes her happiness. In the carriage, the prince gets too close to Leticia. He confesses his feelings and asks if she sees him as a man. Leticia perceives their relationship as formal, but the prince's words about wanting children only with her make her nervous. When he tries to demonstrate his feelings, she pushes him away and apologizes. However, the prince remains calm and offers her to take a nap, resting her head on his shoulder. Both fall asleep. Upon arriving at the palace, the prince shows Leticia a field with animals and rivers where she can engage in her favorite activities. He explains that he wants her to be happy and free, offering her all this in exchange for agreeing to marry him. He kneels again and asks her to marry him. He has already arranged things with the king, who agreed to cancel her princess lessons, considering her mature enough. If Leticia refuses, the prince will have no heirs. However, Leticia continues to decline. The prince places her in a beautiful room, but she feels like a prisoner there. In one of her escape attempts, she encounters a new maid, Maria. Leticia decides to swap clothes with Maria to escape, but Maria alerts the guards and the prince finds her. As punishment, he stays with her, talking about his feelings. Leticia tires of his speeches, and Maria begins to treat her coldly. Despite the pressure, Leticia remains firm in her intention not to marry someone she does not love. She tries to escape again by breaking the window, but is caught by the prince once more. He talks to her about the wedding and her future wardrobe, which irritates her. After Leticia broke the window and attempted to escape, she was moved to a room with bars. This room was previously used for alleged traitors to the crown. A companion named Brianna was assigned to Leticia, hired by Prince Clark for a good sum of money. Brianna believes that the most important thing in the world is money. She reads a romantic novel where Leticia is depicted as a heroine enduring harsh lessons for the sake of love. The people admire Leticia, considering her a role model, although she herself opposes this image. Leticia confesses to Brianna that she doesn't know what love is, but wants to be free and meet her true love. In the evening, her brother arrives with a letter from their mother and some signature muffins. A competition starts between Leticia and her brother over who gets the best muffin, but in the end, they both eat a spicy one that their mother specially prepared. At night, Leticia finds a secret passage behind the books and accidentally meets Prince Clark. He says he has been waiting for this meeting and would like to spend more time with his fiancée. Leticia is concerned upon seeing a bed in the room, but the prince explains that he just wants to be closer to his future wife. The next morning, Leticia, with Maria's help, blocks the entrance to the secret room with a column. However, the prince still enters through the door and demands the passage be restored to its original state. Letitia turns to her brother for help, but he thinks it's normal for the groom-to-be to want to be near his bride-to-be. Letitia firmly tells Prince Clark that she does not want his embraces or closeness. She threatens to stop calling him by name if he continues his attempts. The prince is upset by this refusal and agrees to follow the rules. Now, he will notify her in advance about his visits. Maria brings a schedule of the prince's visits. He intends to visit Letitia every day. Despite her requirement for prior notification, the prince retains the right to regular meetings. Maria offers to help Letitia prepare for these visits. Brianna feels pity for the prince because she believes it's impossible to win someone's love without getting closer to them. Letitia, however, insists on her right to maintain distance. At the ball, Letitia is searching for Prince Clark, but becomes upset upon seeing him talking to another woman. She steps out onto the balcony, where it starts drizzling, and she thinks that the sky is crying over her sorrow. At this moment, a random kidnapping occurs. It turns out that the kidnappers mistook her for Maria, Letitia's maid. Prince Louis learned that Maria works in Prince Clark's palace and decided to find a way to meet her. Previously, Maria belonged to a noble family, but then lost her status. Realizing their mistake, the kidnappers find themselves in a difficult situation. They have the future queen as their hostage. They decide to release Letitia, but she offers a deal to take her to Del Veron, where she wants to live an ordinary life. Together, they head to an inn. It becomes apparent that Prince Louis has never tried common food before. His servant Lel and Letitia tease him about his lack of knowledge about ordinary people's world. At night, Letitia decides to escape, realizing that her promises might not be fulfilled. At this time, Prince Clark finds their hideout. He is displeased that Letitia spent time with other men. The situation is saved by Nadir, the court mage, who announces to everyone that it was just a meeting of relatives. Afterward, Clark and Letitia are left alone. Clark expresses concern for Letitia's safety and shows his feelings through embraces. In the morning, Letitia's brother tries to explain why she should stay. He tells her that Clark is a good person who truly loves Letitia and is willing to fulfill all her wishes on the condition that she stays with him. Upon returning to the palace, Letitia sees that Prince Louis will be studying there for some time. Maria is clearly unhappy about this. Meanwhile, Brianna notices Prince Clark again in the company of the same woman from the ball. Her friends, Brianna and Maria, help her understand what's going on. While Letitia is angry at Clark for ignoring her, she doesn't know the whole truth. Brianna recounts that she saw Clark with a beautiful stranger at the ball. They danced closely, and this woman even visited his chambers. Letitia decides to find out what's happening, but to do so, she needs to get out of her cage. She asks her friends to help her investigate. Maria and Brianna begin gathering information around the palace. The maids and guards confirm that Clark spends time with this lady, and soon they learn that he went to the city with her. Not wanting to waste a minute, Letitia convinces Brianna to follow them. In the city, they discover Clark and the mysterious woman in a men's club. Letitia decides to make a scene, but the situation turns out to be comical. The woman turns out to be Duke Neil, who enjoys dressing like a lady. Of course, why not, thinks Letitia, feeling a little foolish. Clark explains that it was just a business meeting and invites Letitia to spend the day together. They share a drink, accidentally exchanging an indirect kiss, which makes them both blush. How cute, thinks Letitia, though she still tries to pretend that she doesn't care. At the end of the day, Clark gives Letitia a music box with a figurine of an animal symbolizing loyalty. Letitia is touched by the gift, but continues to insist that she isn't ready for an engagement. "I'll still try to run away," she says, although it's obvious to everyone that her feelings toward Clark are changing. Duke Neil, Brianna, and others watch the couple from afar, pleased that their plan worked. "Well, now she definitely won't run away," jokes Neil, while Brianna laughs at his eccentric behavior. Prince Louis and Neil wander through the servants' corridors to deliver macarons to Marie. Neil thinks it's a bad idea. It's dark, they could get caught, and being caught would be considered a crime. Suddenly, the macarons fall, and a strange, ghostly figure appears. Both panic and run in different directions, but Neil finds the others and tells them what happened. Letitia, fascinated by the idea of ghost hunting, suggests everyone go looking for Luis. The group finds the spot where the macarons fell. Nadir proposes splitting up. He takes Brianna with him, while Letitia goes with Prince Clark. Along the way, Clark tells scary stories about how some nobles disappeared from the castle at night. Meanwhile, Nadir and Brianna end up in a strange room filled with animal parts and taxidermy. When Nadir investigates a suspicious rustling sound, something resembling threads suddenly lifts him into the air. Brianna panics and runs away. Neil, upon waking up, says he knows where Luis is because he saw it in a dream. He can communicate with spirits. The team decides to explore parts of the castle rarely visited by the royal family. However, their plan to split up ends badly. Maria gets pulled into a mirror, followed by Neil and Prince Clark. Letitia, skilled in exploration, discovers a secret entrance. She climbs to the top of the tower, activates a mechanism, and falls through a hatch into a room. There, she meets all the participants of the story. It turns out there was no ghost. It was Queen Laura, who had been using the hidden room as a spa for beauty treatments. Brianna, Nadir, Luis, and the others were simply relaxing there, unaware of the commotion outside. Letitia remains troubled by the figure she saw in the garden. It is soon revealed that it was Lily, Letitia's maid, who wanted to protect her. At the end of the episode, Queen Laura gifts Letitia a map of the castle that she once used to escape. She calls it a woman's secret, and Letitia thanks her for the trust. Little Clark often skipped his lessons until one day he met Letitia. She was crying by the palace gates because she had been forcibly brought to live in the castle. Since then, he always kept an eye on her, even though she avoided him. The adult Clark reflects. Does he have the right to insist on marriage with Letitia if she doesn't want it? It's an important question, as arranged marriages were common in their time, but Clark understands that coercion is not the answer. During an official visit from Nathan, the Crown Prince of Delvin, Clark recalls his attempts to win Letitia's affection. When Letitia disappeared, Clark found her in the greenhouse. However, Nadir took her home, believing she needed time to understand her role as a future queen. Over time, Letitia grew cold and formal with Clark, following all the rules of etiquette strictly. Nadir assists Clark, offering gifts and ideas to bring them closer. He even orchestrates a plan where Clark flirts with another girl to make Letitia decide to run away. This is part of Nadir's cunning scheme to get closer to the royal family through his sister. However, Clark genuinely cares for Letitia and doesn't want to force her into anything. He's willing to respect her choice, even if she doesn't want to have children immediately after marriage. When they were children, their first meeting was quite sweet. Letitia thought Clark was a doll, and they started playing together. But over time, everything changed. Letitia began avoiding Clark, while he continued to watch over her, wanting her happiness. Noticing this, Nadir decided to use the situation to his advantage. He claims he only wants the best for his sister, but his true intentions remain questionable. In the present, Nathan suspects something is going on between Clark and Letitia, but both deny it. Clark openly states that he will never pressure Letitia. He understands that her happiness is the most important thing. Meanwhile, Nadir continues his path to power, using his sister as a tool. Subscribe to keep up with next week's road. But for now, watch this next video. I'll see you all in the next one.